Coming up, a suspected swallower gives a massive hit for cocaine.
345 too.
Take her out the back.
Yeah, I will.
In Bristol, the usual officers have been joined by the National Strike Force to carry out house searches on people suspected of dealing illegal cigarettes. All the intelligence has come from anonymous tip-offs on the Customs Confidential hotline.
I've got, I think it's 19 packages from Tobacco NIU, hopefully to execute today.
For officers entering suspects' homes, it can be dangerous.
I've been in a situation before where the whole street was sort of come out and had to go at us. You don't want to hang around.
No, once you're on the ground. If you don't like it, you're out. So.
It may seem heavy-handed for selling a few cigarettes, but the black market costs the Treasury £2 billion a year.
We're going to this lady in Bristol. Information's been received that she could be selling cigarettes at her home address. Started selling cigarettes in the past 2 weeks and have been dealing Lambert and Butler.
But you've also got to be very mindful with this that a lot of this could be malicious as well, so they could just be a stitch-up.
Many tip-offs are found to be false, so the officers initially go in without a warrant. And that means negotiating permission to search the house.
Hello there, this is Hello, I'm from Revenue and Customs. Right, basically we've had information that you may be selling cigarettes from the premises, okay? I'd like to just pop in and have a chat with you about it, if that's alright.
Yeah.
Okay.
Think of what we simple. I pop a ball of death. No trouble. Nah.
Luckily, the woman confesses and lets them in.
Basically, what have you been doing? Your son's brought cigarettes back from holiday. You've been basically selling the cigarettes.
And all the evidence the officers need is sitting on the dining room table.
You need to do a search of the house, if that's okay.
Yeah, there's a few in the front bedroom, which is around. And that's all it is.
Right, okay.
You made me feel like a terrible thief. I feel like a terrible thief.
And she's obviously a bit nervous. She knows that she's done something wrong. She's got a kitty set up downstairs with all her facts. There's a big suitcase here that shows that somebody travelled to Palma in Spain on the 9th of October. Whether that was her or her son. It's a very big case, very typical of a cigarette smuggler's case. Is that your big suitcase up there, the big hard-sided one in the spare room?
Well, we all use a Zeno.
Right,
You're
all
not
right.
committing an offence by selling these cigarettes, okay? So the goods will be seized from you.
And with perfect timing, a customer turns up to find the shop closed indefinitely.
And the guy just come to the premises and we've got a shop.
Oh, right. What, somebody's just come and gone? Looks like we've just had a buyer that's just...
The black market is clearly booming in Bristol. In Gatwick, the Customs Intelligence Hub has given officers information that a drug swallower is coming in from the Caribbean. A girl being questioned at immigration seemed suspicious enough for Customs to do a drug swab, which gives a massive hit for cocaine.
345 too.
Morning, madam.
Drug swallowers are often forced into the crime and told not full consequences of a burst package.
She said that she actually came in with someone named Peter. She met him on the beach and he's got all her money, £400, and he's already gone through. So it doesn't look too good, you know.
The suspect has denied taking cocaine, so a positive urine test would suggest she has swallowed drugs.
There's no line by the THC, so she's positive for cannabis. There's no line by the COC, so she's positive for cocaine as well, which would indicate to us that she has cocaine in her system.
The woman will now be arrested and x-rayed for packages.
Showing up positive for cocaine.
Yeah, okay.
But to the officer's frustration, she's now claiming to have used drugs.
Just for barking, I have taken cocaine. She has taken it. Right, okay.
She had taken, yeah?
She has taken it.
Why didn't she tell me earlier when I put you?
She was worried.
She was worried. Right, okay.
But the officers aren't convinced.
So
we just want to be sure you haven't got any internal consumer injury.
They suspect she may be pregnant, and so will be taken to a private hospital to have her body scanned safely. That means waiting for another interpreter, and that means putting on the white suit.
Because we've got her on suspicion of swallowing, we always put them in a white suit, because what we'd be concerned of, if she maybe started to pass packages in the cell, whether she may pick them up and harm to herself. Sometimes it might be possible that she could retry and swallow them again. We can see through the suit, that's why we need her in the white suit.
The officers are extremely concerned for the woman's health, and all the signs are pointing to a definite swallower. If so, she'd be looking at a lengthy sentence.
It's a bit concerning because with her original story, when we asked her, she doesn't touch drugs, she doesn't drink. It's then, oh well, I smoke marijuana, I have taken cocaine. So her story is continually changing. When we take her down, I really wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see packages in her body from the way her story is.
It's a nervous ride to the hospital, which could decide the woman's future. Customs officers also stopped smugglers who tried to bring in drugs using the postal system. In October 2002, a routine parcel exam uncovered a massive haul of drugs hidden in a shipment of doors.
And I recall getting a phone call at home that there'd been a major seizure. Within it, they found holdalls. Examining the holdalls, they found packages which turned out to be a mixture of Class A and B drugs. And I can recall getting a phone call about 2 hours after that to advise me that they had found something else.
In the box were live ammunition rounds and something altogether more frightening.
They came across another box, and you can imagine their surprise when they opened it to find a grenade. And I think everyone stepped back about half a mile.
The decision was made to do a controlled delivery and catch the culprits in the act. But all they had to go on was the consignment address in Devon and a phone number which belonged to Timothy A.
One individual in particular, Timothy A. We conducted surveillance on him over that weekend.
Officers tailed Andrew on the clog for 3 days. Mobile phone analysis identified in crime, Andrew Griffith. The race was now on to get the package delivered on time. The team replaced all the drugs and ammunition with props and prepared to make the delivery.
The controlled delivery commenced on the Monday morning. One of our officers acted as the T&T delivery driver. He drove it down to the address, the consignment address in Ivybridge. But within the actual consignment, we had placed an audio device, in fact a number of audio devices.
The officers were hiding, waiting for the right time to strike.
When it became clear that the package was been broken into and been dismantled, I decided at that point that I would call the knock.
50 armed officers stormed the building and found 2 henchmen. Elsewhere, but were still being followed and were arrested. They would plead not guilty. But customs investigators used mobile phone cell tracking information to tie them to the crime scene.
On this occasion and on 4 previous occasions where consignments had gone to that address, but they will be serving at least 15 years.
Back in Bristol, Russ and Jane haven't found any more cigarettes and decide not to prosecute the woman. Instead, they want her to turn informant.
But do you think we can try and get some details about her son? His name? I think we've got to if we can.
Young lad, where's he picking these up for?
No, I'm not getting you into trouble.
Right, you don't want to tell us anything about him then?
Trouble, no.
Could you pass on a little message to him? He is in danger of not only losing his cigarettes but losing his vehicle, etc. So it could be quite hefty for him. So.
I don't know, it's
Seizing the 9,000 cigarettes, they now want to get out before it turns ugly.
We don't really have the public on our side because the locals think she's providing a service. so people aren't sympathetic to us. So sometimes once people have clocked who we are, it's better to just get the fags and get out, isn't it?
In Gatwick, the suspected swallower is back with the X-rays. She's put back in the cell while the officers take a look at the results.
If she had swallowed something, you would possibly see the shapes of packages. They'd be down here, they can be collected up around here, and there's nothing at all.
Compared to an actual swallower, the difference is clear.
See the package shapes collected down there, whereas that one is totally no shapes whatsoever in that one. It was negative.
It's an anticlimax for the officers, but they're glad she'll be okay.
Take her back up to the south terminal if she wants to, so she could be on her way. Yeah, it's negative. All the way down the line to me, I was thinking, yeah, it's going to be positive. The way she was acting and the things she was saying, but sometimes it happens like that, you know.
6 months later, the Gatwick cocaine smugglers pleaded guilty and were sentenced to 6 Customs officers are always on high alert for bootleggers using cheap flights to bring in tobacco to sell illegally on the UK's booming black market. In Bristol, officers have received intelligence that a known bootlegger is returning from Malaga in a group of 4. The main target had over 26 kilos of tobacco seized only 2 weeks ago. Will he be mad enough to try again?
Oh, there we go. Tobacco. Lots of it.
The X-ray has found 4 bags full of tobacco. Now it's up to Anne and the team to stop and question the passengers and prove that the tobacco is not for their own personal use. Bootleggers come in all shapes and sizes. This time it's a retired couple who pick up 3 of the 4 suspect bags and then split from the group. They almost make it through the channels, but Anne closes in.
Is it only the 2 of you? Yeah.
The 3 holdalls are stacked with tobacco. The main target has slipped through empty-handed, but the final passenger in the group isn't so lucky. Her bag contains 30 kilos of tobacco, 10 times the guidelines. The couple have another 57 kilos. Altogether, an amount like this is a criminal matter. No wonder they're pretending not to know each other.
Okay, I'm just going to do a couple of checks on your passport a minute.
They're saying they're travelling just together, don't they?
Yeah.
Get them to say that again. She's saying she's travelling on her own. They're in a group. They're together.
Yes.
They've got 57 kilos between them.
Isn't that arrestable?
Could be. Only if we can tie them in together.
Tying the passengers to each other proves a little easier than Anne and Joe expected.
Are you together or do you know each other?
Well, we've come together.
Are you travelling together? You're travelling together, okay. They've all just admitted that they're travelling together because they were talking to each other.
Did they say that initially when you stopped?
No, he lied.
Travelling by himself.
Yeah. So obviously I don't believe that this sort of amount can be for your own personal use.
Believe that.
The sheer amount that you've brought in.
I've never been in trouble with the police, never been in trouble with the customs. We smoke tobacco, and that is for our use.
They have enough tobacco to last 14 years, but it was split between 3 passengers, so it won't be treated as criminal. But they will now be interviewed to decide the fate of the tobacco.
I do not believe for 1 minute that that is for their own personal use. Even if they were smoking, 100 cigarettes a day.
He seems pretty adamant that he's done nothing wrong, and
that's right.
That's the most I've seen come through the airport in the last couple of years, I must say.
At this point, most bootleggers simply admit defeat and abandon their goods. But this passenger decides he won't go down without a fight. In Gatwick, sniffer dog Rossi and his handler Claire are targeting another Spanish flight, this time for Class A drugs. Each dog has only one handler, And their close bond means that Claire knows when Rossi picks up even a hint of drugs.
Do you want to stand still for a second, please?
The passenger is intercepted and seems very nervous. But Andy's bag search finds nothing.
What's that? Just a charm. Yeah.
Not convinced, Andy swabs the bag for drugs and picks up a massive hit for cocaine.
Quick chat with him. He's very, very nervous. And taking an iron track off there, got a hit of 4, so I'm going to get an SOP in him, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's got something on him.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
Okay.
It seems Rossi and Claire were right. So Andy confronts the passenger with the evidence.
It's a drugs dog. I've spoken to you. You seem very nervous, okay? I've taken a swab, as I explained to you, from your baggage, and I've got a very high hit for traces of cocaine. So what I want to do is search you to make sure you have nothing on you.
No problem, sir.
Okay, you
No
understand
problem,
that?
sir. Yes,
okay.
no problem.
Do you have
No
any
worries.
objections to that?
Pardon,
you have
sir?
any objection? Any problem with that?
No, you're going to
okay,
check
good.
me everything that you want. Okay.
The passenger is playing innocent, but the search of person will prove if he's telling the truth. Back in Bristol, Anne's preparing for a fight with the passengers caught with 87 kilos of tobacco. They have enough tobacco to last a heavily addicted smoker 14 years, but neither have yet asked for a cigarette.
You said that I took an hour to write up my notebook.
No, you left us outside waiting for
Yeah, you actually said that I took an hour to write up my notebook. That were your
I said, my specific words were, you left us sitting out there for an hour in the freezing cold.
Well,
I
you
did
went
not
to write
say, but don't, let's get it straight.
Okay, well,
Little
I tell you
girl,
what.
if you're
no,
going to write,
don't try and intimidate me.
You are intimidating me.
No,
little
not
girl,
at all.
you write
I've
it
just been
properly.
straight with you.
You do your job properly, or don't do it at all. Bring somebody else
Look,
in.
if you're
going
to take this attitude,
Yes.
I'm not going to interview you. I'll invite you back at a different date when you calm
you
down.
come to my house and interview me.
No,
invite me
that
back.
doesn't happen.
Well, you
Sorry.
want somebody else then.
Until you're prepared to speak to me in a proper
don't
manner,
miss
I won't
my
deal with you.
What planet are you on, for goodness sake? You people, get to the dock, stop the people coming in. Do your job.
Okay.
You don't do the little end. You're like policemen who pick people up for parking. Catch the criminals. We're not criminals.
Well, actually, it's a very large quantity of cigarettes.
Well, no, it's tobacco. You want to get that right. But it is not a large quantity
It
for
is a
somebody
large
that smokes
quantity.
all the time.
It is
Two people. Really? You smoke, do you?
It's a large quantity.
Do you smoke, do
It's
you?
irrelevant what
Do
it is.
oh, it is, because you're telling me it's a large quantity. I'm saying, do you smoke?
No,
you're
I
not
don't.
qualified to judge, are you?
I am, because
No,
I'm
you're not.
qualified.
Bring somebody in that's qualified to judge. You don't smoke. You don't know how much tobacco goes in a rollie, do you?
Yes.
You haven't got a clue.
Well, look.
Right. So anyway, go away. Bring the little girl back with what I've just said.
No, you don't speak to us like that.
Why not? This is disgraceful, and it will not end here, I can tell you. We are not criminals. You are treating us like criminals.
Picking out the criminals amongst the innocent passengers is a skill that comes only from experience. And customs officers in Gatwick have seen it all when it comes to the risks smugglers will take to make money from drugs. One smuggler that stands out from all the rest is a man called...
Well, when I was stopped in the Green Channel, I examined his baggage and found really nothing of customs interest at all. But there was something about him that I wasn't satisfied with. And generally, if somebody hasn't got anything in their baggage of customs interest, then they may have smuggled it elsewhere. So he was then taken to a private room and he was searched.
The body search found nothing, so suspicions now centred on what could have hidden inside his body.
A sample of urine was taken from him and tested on our machine at Gatwick, and the result indicated the presence of cocaine inside of his body. And I then arrested him on suspicion of importing a controlled drug into the UK, concealed internally.
Officers wanted to X-ray to prove he'd swallowed packages of cocaine, but he refused. Instead, he was detained in a Gatwick custody cell while officers waited for the evidence to emerge. begun a waiting game that would go down in customs history.
He was refusing to eat any food. He refused to drink any drinks that we provided to him unless it was a can of Coke which he could open himself, and that's all he would do. And of course this went on and on.
Without food, it soon became a week without him going to the toilet. But officers had Brady under 24-hour surveillance to ensure none of the vital evidence was missed.
We had to have grounds to keep him in our custody when we had to go in front of the magistrate every 7 days. One of the things we did was to iron scan his suit, and this indicated whether we still may have, the cocaine level was actually going up, which it was.
After 3 weeks, and with drugs seeping into his system, they began to fear for life, but he refused to give in.
It would only take a very small amount to actually kill the person outright, so it's a dangerous thing to do anyway.
After a staggering 48 days of defiance, it was the smell of the custody officer's lunch which finally forced to crack.
After 48 days, I was actually off shift and I was at home, and I had a call from my main manager at Gatwick, who telephoned me to say yes, he's produced. So it was quite an emotional time, and I still feel quite emotional talking about it now, so it was sort of relief.
Consuming his first meal for 7 weeks, the officers wouldn't have to wait long to get their hands on the evidence.
And he just gave in completely, so he must have been absolutely starving, but obviously the body couldn't take it. And I had to sit with him along with my colleagues to recover the remaining packages from his body.
The stubbornness of Brady was beaten only by the determination of the officers at Gatwick.
I mean, give him his due, he gave it a good try, didn't he? And he pleaded the only thing he could do best, which was to plead guilty at Croydon Crown Court, where the judge gave him the sentence of 5 years. And that's something I'm proud of, you know, so it was good.
Still to come, suspicions are raised on board Searcher when a sailor tries to stop officers coming on board.
Come on board, we're on getting back to port. We're coming on board now, sir.
Coming up, Anne's argument continues with tobacco bootleggers in Bristol.
Behave correctly.
I don't think I need you to teach me how to do
I think
that.
somebody needs to teach you.
In Gatwick, Andy's search of person has identified the cause of the positive cocaine hit. The man has confessed to using cocaine whilst in Spain.
So you say the reason for the high reading that we got here was because you had a couple of lines of coke yesterday?
Oh, okay.
Yeah? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite high. You use it quite regularly?
No, not very much actually.
Okay.
Not very much.
Having confessed to using cocaine abroad, the man's now trying to avoid trouble.
Came up with a very high reading for cocaine. When I put that to him, just inside the room there, why that would be, he said, well, he had a couple of lines of coke yesterday with his girlfriend, which would do the trick. So, stripped him off, nothing there at all, and gradually calmed down once he realised that that was what we were going to do. So,
no guilt, yeah?
Thank you.
Welcome.
Bye-bye.
The high reading was from personal use, so a disappointed Andy has to let him go.
So, nothing today, maybe next time.
Customs ship Searcher has tracked a yacht sailing towards the southwest coast of England. Within the 12-mile limit, any vessel is a potential smuggler, and customs officers have the power to board and search.
This is the 6 miles. You can see that the target vessel that we're interested in is just off the 6-mile limit, so he's well within the 12.
Well, she was on the
The cutter launches the high-speed rib team from the stern, giving the yacht no time to hide any goods on board or jettison any drugs into the sea. The boarding team don't need the skipper's permission, but he seems unaware of their powers.
Customs, sir, we're just going to pop on board for a second.
Come on board, we're on getting back to port.
When we get back to port, we've actually got to come on board now, sir.
Pardon?
We're coming on board now, sir. How long have you been over in the Sillies?
2 days.
2 days.
I can hear the RIB crew saying they're going to take some swabs on board the vessel, some iron track swabs, and then they're going to bring them back to the cutter, and we can test to see if there's any traces of narcotics or explosives on the yacht.
To avoid upsetting innocent sailors as much as possible, the drug swabs quickly identify any wrongdoing. The man's initial attitude may be a good sign of a smuggler, but the swabs will be the ultimate test.
If he's got anything on his hands, that will have moved onto the tiller. Nothing there. The swabs are negative, and there's no trace of any drugs on that particular boat. All negative. Nice, clean yacht.
Fair dues. Let's get the boys back in then.
Quickly exonerating the innocent is as important as arresting the guilty, and this sailor is free to continue his journey. And after the 12-hour shift, the cutter Searcher returns to port. Meanwhile in Gatwick, police have arrested a man as he stepped off a flight from the Caribbean. His problems get worse when the officers bring him through customs.
He's dressed very smartly. Why is he wearing a suit? Was he sitting in economy or was he flying Virgin upper class? Why did he wear a suit? No one else in the flight's wearing a suit.
But, we'll find out. We'll ask him a few questions. Well, what's happened is that the police had warrants, outstanding warrants for this man, and as soon as he came off the plane, they arrested him at that stage. And they've brought him up here, and as the flight is one which has brought previous jobs to us, shall we say, they asked us if we wanted to have a look through his luggage. And the obvious thing is that given the risk of drugs coming in from there, we said yes. So we've gone through the luggage, and what we want to do now is just to make sure he's got no drugs on his person.
Many smugglers try hard to look innocent, and Chris asks permission to do a body search.
He's arrived on a flight from Montego Bay. And as you can see, he's probably the most smartly dressed guy on the flight, dressed in a suit, which is ostensibly a holiday destination. It seems as though he's got various layers on as well. Yeah. So I just want to rub him down, make sure there's nothing under all those layers.
That's fine, Chris. Yeah, 8:15.
Cheers. Okay, if you come this way.
With us as well. Stay with him. Right, if you can follow us.
Okay.
Catching drug smugglers is a daily occurrence at Gatwick, and officers find packages in a variety of places. The strip search is as uninvasive as possible, but it's an uncomfortable experience, especially when Jeff discovers the initial reason for the man's arrest.
He's actually wanted for a driving offence, but you know, we have to make sure 100% certain. So we did a quick search and nothing was found, so we've handed him back to the police. He's been rearrested and taken back down to the station.
This man isn't a smuggler and leaves cooperatively with the police. Meanwhile, in Bristol, 3 passengers have been caught with 87 kilos of tobacco, but they're not going quietly.
You have treated us really badly, really badly, like we've done something wrong.
Until you're prepared to speak to me in a proper manner, I won't deal with you.
It's the biggest haul the team have seen in years, but the man is adamant it's not being brought in to sell on the black market. Anne's decided to interview the man to see if he's telling the truth. If not, the £11,000 worth of tobacco will all be seized and destroyed.
How much do you smoke a week on average?
So, 2-3 packs a day, so...
2 or 3 50-gram packs?
Yeah, generally 2.
Okay. How many cigarettes do you tend to make from one 50-gram pouch of tobacco? What could you get to?
30.
Okay. Have one 50-gram pouch. On a good day, he gets 20 out of it. Okay, sorry. He would expect those goods to last him 9 to 10 months.
All right, give him the benefit of the doubt.
30 kilos are for him.
Yeah.
That's 600 pouches, and he reckons 10 months.
Yeah. Definitely not longer than a year. Because he bought the same amount last year. And
That means he's going to be smoking 8.5 pouches a week. Totally and utterly ridiculous.
Oh, he says he smokes 2 pouches a day. 2 to 3 pouches a day.
A day?
The only thing I haven't asked yet is about rolling. Because are we allowed to ask that? Are we?
What do you mean? Getting to roll what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to roll one of these for me.
Really? I'm
Yeah.
not playing any silly games.
Well, you've said that you can roll.
Look, I've been very good. I've played the game.
Yeah,
You've
but
asked
I'm not
all the
asking.
questions. You've asked, and if you really think at 65 years old I haven't smoked all my life, I'm now going to play a silly game.
I'm asking you to roll one cigarette.
No way. I'm not being silly. No way. That's insulting.
The 2 other passengers have had their goods seized. And now the moment of truth. Anne has to decide if the angry passenger gets to keep his tobacco. And he's not going to be happy.
I've looked over what has been said today, and you failed to satisfy me that the tobacco is for your own use for the following reasons. I'll give you the reasons. 1, the excessive quantity is actually 9 times over the guideline of what you are supposed to bring in from an...
Not what I'm supposed to smoke, yeah, fine. When you say guideline...
Yeah, there is a guideline of 3,000...
It's a guideline.
Yeah, but it's still 9... I'm giving you my... I'm not going to argue about it. I'm
Okay,
giving you
just
my
get on with it,
reasons. Consumption, 3 pouches a day is grossly
Oh, there you are,
excessive.
right, yeah, okay, go on. Right, you're going to tell me what to
You've
smoke
got no smoking paraphernalia at all.
That's correct.
You refuse to roll a cigarette for no reason.
Correct. Not for no reason. I made it clear
It's not
to you
credible.
that I'm not going to demonstrate.
Okay, fine. You refuse
drink
to
a cup of tea.
I didn't
or
ask
open
you
a
to
bottle of wine.
drink
No,
a
I'm
cup of
telling you
tea.
that. You asked me to do something just as
Look,
benign.
can you just
Right.
listen,
So
please?
just sign it, please, and we can get to the court.
Right. It's not credible to import this quantity when travelling again in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Inconsistencies in your account. You actually said...
Inconsistencies in my account?
Just let me finish,
Yeah, go on,
right?
let's hear it.
You actually said that on the same flight, your son and a female friend of his travelled, whereas your wife told Mr. Hanlon that nobody else that you knew travelled. That is the point. That is the point.
If we were travelling on
We're
our
not
own?
going to...
When you were being questioned? Did they ask you if you're travelling on our own? Yeah, well, we are.
Well, you're not because you know that.
Well, no, I knew
are you
another lady I was
suggesting
sitting beside.
that Mrs. didn't know that her own son was also
what
on the
I'm saying
flight?
to you is, we are travelling on our own. That's what my wife said. Anyway, get to it.
It's
come on.
also not credible to get only 20, or 30 or even 40 cigarettes from a 50-gram pouch of tobacco.
Right then.
Generally, you would get at least 80 to 100 cigarettes out of...
Not if you roll them in a bag.
What, so are you suggesting that you roll them...
I'm not suggesting anything. Let's go to court and have my solicitor run
Okay,
rings round you.
if you could sign. Look, you
And
need to
declared it
sign
both
the
ends.
date as well.
Sign the
please.
date. You put the date. You don't
Look,
sign
I'm
the
not
date.
going to argue with you about sign.
I'm just trying to get you to behave correctly.
I don't think I need you to teach me how to
I
do
think
that.
Somebody needs to teach you.
I could say the same about you.
Anne's ordeal is finally over.
He was trying to intimidate me, I think perhaps because he thought I was a girl, like he was calling me little girl and stuff and waving his finger in my face. But that doesn't intimidate me. He was just nitpicking at things really because he knew that he hadn't got a leg to stand on.
At Gatwick Airport, a flight has just arrived from Antigua. Suitcases from the flight are unloaded and checked by sniffer dogs before passengers collect them in the terminal. One female passenger from the flight has raised suspicion. After passing through immigration, she was seen changing her clothes in the toilets. So UK Border Agency officer George has stopped her for questioning.
She actually changed outfits from when I saw her down by immigration when she was getting her passport swiped. When talking to her in the channels, she actually said that it's because she had a long journey and she had some soggy clothes which she needed to change out of. It's a suspicious activity. Normally people would just wait.
George carries out a routine search of the woman's bags.
When she went upstairs, I noticed that she had a carry-on holdall, which sometimes they can actually sneak drugs through their holdalls.
The holdall and its contents are taken away to be x-rayed. Officers will be looking for any hidden concealment. George continues his search of the woman's suitcase.
Yeah, that's okay.
The holdall gets the all clear, but the woman's laptop looks decidedly suspicious.
On the X-ray, it's sort of uneven as it goes, and it shows that there may be something inside. Yeah.
With concerns there may be drugs hidden in the laptop, it's taken away to a workshop to be properly assessed.
Okay, what's happened? Yeah, we've got a clear image, and it shows.
It may seem brutal, but the only way to find out if it does contain anything illegal is to break it open. It looks like their hunch was right. Officers discover a package they suspect to be drugs, stuffed inside the laptop. A simple test will be able to confirm their suspicion. At Birmingham Airport, it's the start of a busy evening shift. A flight has just come in from Gran Canaria, and Officer Mike is scanning suitcases for excessive quantities of cigarettes.
We're x-raying the baggage through this felt scanner here, looking primarily for cigarettes or tobacco, but there is a chance we may find defensive weapons such as flick knives or throwing stars and things like that.
Passengers arriving back from Gran Canaria have a strict allowance of just 200 cigarettes.
Okay, that one's got some square shapes in that may indicate tobacco. We'll have another look at that one in a moment.
Having found a large quantity of cigarettes on the X-ray, Mike will be keen to ask the owner of the suitcases a few questions. A man in shorts and a blue jumper collects one of the bags from the luggage carousel, and as he proceeds through the Nothing to Declare channel, Mike steps in to intercept him.
Hello there guys, just step over this way a second, just come over to the bench for me. Can we look at your passports please? Not travelling with anyone else? Not travelling with anyone else, no. Just been a family holiday, is it? Yeah, how long have you been away?
The days.
Yeah. Where to?
Gran Canaria.
Okay. Whose name was it booked in? Who actually did the booking? I thought you said you weren't with anyone else.
Three of us. I didn't even know that.
Oh right, so you were travelling with these people, yeah?
Yeah, when you
right.
said 2 adults.
Well no, I did say have you travelled with anyone else and you said no. That's not a problem, okay. Yeah, you know what you can't bring in? Drugs, guns, knives, weapons, adhesive material, stuff like that? Yeah, okay. You wear the cigarette restrictions from Gran Canaria? I can tell by the face. Okay, not sure. Okay, something you want to tell me?
Yeah,
cigarettes. Okay, how many have we got?
I genuinely don't know.
You don't know? Do
Genuinely.
you know how many you're allowed to have? No? 200? One sleeve, one packet. Have we gone bust?
200 sleeves, I think, sorry.
200 sleeves. Okay, I guess we better have a look then, eh?
The man confesses to being way over his allowance.
Who are they for? Fair enough, I appreciate your honesty, mate. First time you've been caught? First time you've been caught? First time you've done it? Last time was what I've done.
First time or not, it's going to be an expensive lesson.
Oh, dear me.
With 3 suitcases stuffed to the brim, the man could feasibly be arrested. Back at Gatwick, officers are about to run tests on a package they suspect to be cocaine, found in a woman's laptop.
We've pulled a package out from behind the screen. All he's doing now is splitting it to take a small sample, which we can test on this cocaine reagent here, so which will give us an indication as to what type of drug it is.
The reagent will turn blue if the substance is cocaine.
It is there.
With a positive identification for cocaine, the news is now broken to the woman.
Carried out an examination of your laptop, and we have found a white substance hidden behind the screen. We've carried out a field test for cocaine, which has come up positive. So the time is 10:19. We're arresting you on suspicion of being involved in the importation of controlled drugs. You do not have to say anything. I'm not. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention blank question, something which you later rely on your court. Do you understand?
As she's led off for further questioning, officers take this opportunity to use the cocaine as a training aid for sniffer dogs.
We try and educate the dogs on live concealment because we can't replicate that. You know, they've spent a lot of effort to sort of hide that concealment in that laptop. We just can't do that with our training samples. So now the dogs, their sort of learning curves just shot right up.
With the game now well and truly up, the woman's attitude begins to change.
This is for Hillary.
She may be laughing now, but all that awaits her is an empty cell. Officers stay with the woman while her belongings are checked in, and she's informed of her rights. Meanwhile, George inspects the cocaine concealment further.
There's a lot of work which has gone into this. This would be actually considered a deep concealment. For a rudimentary way of trying to, I suppose, disguise it from an X-ray was by covering it in foil, but obviously it hasn't worked.
Right, just want to take your shoes off and put them here.
As the woman is checked into her cell, she starts to vent her frustration.
If you do need us, in here. Just listen to me. Let us know if you need anything else.
Would you like to see the part of the blood with the film, right? You want to see that part?
She's getting a bit upset now. When she was stopped, even when her computer was being x-rayed and everything, she was quite calm. But everyone's different. Everyone reacts in different ways, so there is no way you can spot a drug smuggler, is it? They come in all shapes and sizes.
One thing left to find out is the weight of the drugs.
So that's coming in at around about 530 grams. So depending on its purity, it could actually be quite substantial.
With an estimated value of £25,000, it's been a very successful day for the officers. Less so for the woman, who will have plenty of time to contemplate her actions. Back at Birmingham, officers are counting the massive haul of cigarettes a man has brought back from Gran Canaria.
You did realise that there is a limit when you'd actually become an arrestable offence. Okay, and you're going to be close. It depends on the value.
The man's friend who booked the tickets is also carrying 3 suitcases full of cigarettes. It's now a question of what penalty they face.
You have 36,000. So rather impressive, 35,600 over the limit, because obviously the baby's not entitled to any. She's not yet 17.
With the man's friend also carrying a further 36,000, the total haul is just under the amount where they would have been arrested.
That one is a warning letter. Now, obviously, as you know, you sailed very close to the wind this time, and there is no other sanction than seizure. Okay, there's no fine, there's no penalty, there's nothing else. The warning letter is there to say,
don't do it again.
Don't do it again, because next time it may be more serious. Okay.
It's a lucky escape for the 2 men, whose audacious attempt at smuggling cheap cigarettes would have netted them a profit of over £2,000 each.
Quite happy, did some checks on the people involved, and both parties, and myself and my colleague were happy that they were first-time offenders from a customs point of view. Needless to say that the records will be maintained on them, and should they try and make another attempt, more punitive action may well be taken.
Coming up, a woman in Gatwick struggles to explain a high drug hit coming from her suitcase.
I've never even seen cocaine. I don't even know what it looks like.
Yeah.
Coming up, one man gets a bit economical with the truth in Birmingham.
No arrested. Oh, you've never been arrested?
No.
Right. Well, our records show differently, sir.
At Gatwick Airport, a plane has just come in from Kingston in Jamaica, a known source area for illegal drugs. As the last of the passengers pass through the customs channels, officers stop a woman who's just arrived home in the UK. After a routine baggage search and an ion scan swab test of her suitcase, traces have been found for cocaine. Despite the woman's protest, her suitcase is taken away for further tests.
I've done an ion scan on the bag. I mean, she's adamant she hasn't come anywhere near drugs. She's adamant there's nothing in there, but I've got to find out why. I've got a reading for 2.55. What do you do for a living?
I was writing for a magazine out there.
What does your partner do?
He's a musician. Yeah, what is the situation?
Well, I'm still getting readings for cocaine. So you said you're travelling with your partner. I need to have a chat with him as well to see if we can find out why we are getting the readings.
The woman starts to become agitated with the suggestion that she's been involved with cocaine.
I'm not saying you've got it. All I'm saying is at the moment...
There's no actual cocaine.
Well, I haven't found any, so that's good. But I still need to find out why I am getting these readings. It might be that your boyfriend will be able to throw some light on it. I don't know until I've spoken to him.
But if he can't throw any light on it, what happens?
Well, at the moment, until I've spoken to him, I can't say what's going to happen.
Whilst waiting for the woman's boyfriend to arrive from immigration, officers become intrigued by some prescription drugs in the woman's hand luggage.
It's a strong medication. It certainly sounds it like that.
What if that could have set it off?
Pardon?
With questions to be answered, the woman's Rastafarian boyfriend is hurried through immigration. But he too is less than happy at the suggestion he's been involved with cocaine.
And it can happen from anything. You can have touched something that somebody else has touched.
No, I haven't touched nothing.
But you don't know that. You might have touched the... Listen to me. You might have touched the airlines.
Just relax, yeah.
You can pick up traces of drugs from anywhere.
Yeah.
You can pick them up from train
Well,
seats. You can
she-
pick them up from airline seats. You can pick them up from being in nightclubs, pubs,
No, we're
bars,
not in
anywhere.
nightclub.
No, but this is what I'm saying to you. This is you can pick traces of drugs up, okay? And that can then contaminate the contents of your suitcase.
Okay, well-
So what we need to do is we need to make sure that's all.
I'm a reggae artist, you know.
Okay.
My wife not.
With neither passenger offering an explanation, further searches will be conducted to get to the bottom of the cocaine traces. It's the middle of the day at Birmingham Airport. A flight is due to depart to Dubai, and officers are using sniffer dogs to detect passengers carrying any quantities of cash.
Well, under the Proceeds of Crime Act 2002, anybody who's carrying more than £1,000, we're entitled to ask them about the origins of the money and what they intend to do with it.
Hello, so you're carrying cash on your body today? Yeah. Good boy.
We're trying to intercept criminal money going out before it commits a crime, before they go out to buy drugs, before they go out to buy cigarettes. So we hit them in the pocket where it hurts. None of us like losing our money.
If passengers can't provide evidence where the cash has come from or what it's going to be used for, officers have the power to seize the money and investigate the individual further.
We'll go and search your bags over here.
Over here, yeah. Come this way.
A man waiting to board the flight to Dubai has been pulled over for questioning. He lives and works in the UK and claimed he was carrying just £1,000. On further questioning, he revealed he's actually carrying £4,000.
Did you pack this bag?
No pack.
Who packed the bag?
Yeah, I packed it.
You packed the bag. Is everything in here, including the money, belongs to you?
Yes, belongs
Okay, just going to give you a bag of quick check, sir, okay?
Yeah, it's
Do you have any more money apart from the wallet?
Yes.
Any more money?
No, just...
You hold that money there, okay?
With the flight about to board, officers will have just minutes to decide what to do with the man and his cash.
Is this your coat?
Yeah,
Any money in the coat?
No.
No.
No money in the coat?
No, it's not.
No money in the coat?
Change.
Some change?
I think it's £100 something down there.
There may be some down there.
Yeah.
I know there is, because it's there, isn't it?
Yeah, that's. I think.
But you said there was no money there.
No money there.
No, yes, I forgot because yes,
forgot
that one is someone.
You forgot you had money there.
Yeah, someone is £50. The cent is family.
It's very important you tell us about all the money, sir. I said to you, can you tell me about all the money? Then you remembered you had more money in this bag. Now you've remembered you have more money in the coat. Do you have any more cash on you anywhere? Any more on your person?
No, just this.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the
Right. In your wallet there, do you have your national insurance card?
Yes, I have it.
Yeah, can I see it, please?
The man's dishonesty is ringing alarm bells.
Now, have you put your tax return in last year?
Last year?
Or this year?
Last year, no.
It's just
now.
a yes or no question. Did you put your tax return?
No, last year is in the pipe.
Have you ever been arrested by the police or customs? No, never been in trouble? No, that's good, sir.
After confessing to not having completed a tax return, officers will conduct background checks on the passenger for further information.
As long as you've done everything right, everything will be fine. But can you take your money belt off just now, sir, and just show me all the money that's in the money belt you have?
Yes.
With the threat of losing his money, the passenger is starting to get upset with the interrogation. Reluctantly, he shows the contents of his money belt.
And in here, you say you have £3,000.
Yeah, £3,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, the money here is not bank wrapped, sir. So is it this money you've taken from your shop?
Yes, shop, yeah. No, it's bank.
Take a seat down there, mate. You'll be all right.
As the last passengers board the flight, the suspected tax evader looks unlikely to be leaving the country with his cash. In Gatwick, the Rasta passenger is being decidedly candid.
So as a Rasta then, do you use cannabis?
Yeah, I use cannabis, but I don't have none neither. But when you don't find traces of cannabis, because I smoke cannabis. But no other drugs, I don't deal with crack and cocaine.
That's fine.
We also ban it, we have the
That's
money in the Royal Bank
fine.
of Scotland too, so we not transfer drugs and push drugs.
But you see, where you say that you're a reggae artist, okay? So where you do that, there could be people there who smoke drugs and smoke cocaine.
And I'm clean.
Yeah, but
Like
do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
So you could have picked up traces of drugs from there. You wouldn't know that you'd done it.
It's very hard for me to label my lady like that, you know? You understand?
Officer Hazel takes the man's suitcase to the X-ray, but her colleague Sam thinks she might have worked out what's causing the high traces of cocaine.
We just have to check your partner, but what I think is happening is because of the drugs you're taking, it's reacting for the cocaine test. And that's probably all it is.
I've never even seen cocaine. I don't even know what it looks like.
Yeah, but that's what it is. I think that's what it is. It's because you've got really strong medication. And I think that's where it is, because you're taking it. When you sweat, it goes into your pores, and then it goes onto your clothing, then you're putting your clothing in your suitcase. And that's what's contaminating it.
Hazel's search of the man's suitcase comes back clear as well.
Okay. That's fine.
You okay, princess?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm all Chris, man. Everything Chris.
Despite the questioning, the couple are happy to accept that it's been a necessary interrogation by the officers.
Yeah. Thank you for being understanding. Sorry for delaying you. Okay? Right, bye-bye.
He was fine because I sprang him out the queue and he was absolutely fine. He was charming, chatty, and the minute that you mention drugs, cocaine specifically, he was not happy at all. He's Rastafarian, and to my understanding they use cannabis and don't have much to do with cocaine, but he got quite cross up here, but then he called me princess, so I figured it wasn't too bad. Nobody ever calls me princess.
I think they felt better when I said I think it's the medication.
Yeah.
In Birmingham, officers have just minutes to decide what to do with the man carrying over £4,000 in cash. Having lied about the amount of money he was carrying, background checks have been conducted, which have brought up more lies.
Do you know what being arrested is?
Not arrested.
No. You've never been arrested?
No.
Right. Well, our records show differently, sir. And our records also show you had goods seized at this airport as well. You said you'd never been in trouble with customs?
No.
No, you don't remember that either. Okay, just wait for the other.
The PNC's got checks coming back for bringing in cigarettes into Birmingham Airport. 1,400, that was last year.
Despite his previous offences, today the main concern is the £4,000 in cash, which may be illegal income. Having failed to pay any taxes for the previous 2 years, officers decide to seize the money as they suspect him of tax evasion.
There is money, it's not money, no any money.
We haven't got time now to talk about the money, but you need to make a decision on whether you're going to travel or whether you're going to stay here to answer further questions in relation to the money and miss your flight. That's your decision. You're free to go, but the money's not free to go. You understand?
You can miss your flight and stay to speak with us, and you won't be flying today, or you can or you can go on the flight now, but your money will be staying here and will go before the magistrate in 48 hours. So you have to make a decision, sir. Do you want to fly, or do you want to stay?
Reluctantly, he hands over all of his cash.
I don't want to handle the cash.
His case will go to court, and he'll have the chance to appeal the seizure when he returns to the UK.
And that's the reasons why the money's been taken from you, okay? Thank you.
With just seconds to spare, the man and his wife catch their flight, minus their cash.
If we hadn't done the last check about what taxes he'd paid, what benefits he'd been claiming, he would have been on that flight with that money. Because we did the check, we found out he hadn't paid his taxes, which therefore is the proceed of crime. So therefore his money's gone.
The woman caught smuggling £25,000 worth of cocaine in her laptop was found guilty and sentenced to 5.5 years in prison.